Morning, Jackson.
Good morning and welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sands. My name's Brent. I have Brian and the thumb on camera, and we have Scott and Andrew on the other vehicle, and Nikki and Eugene in final control. Welcome to a very chilly Juma Private Game Reserve this morning. It's 13 degrees Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit, and I think that's the coldest morning we've had so far this winter. As you can see, gloves are on, very chilly. Just to let you know what's been happening, well, I woke up at about 4:30 this morning and I could hear lions calling to our sort of northeast. We've headed into the area. Unfortunately, it looks like they are further north. There are no tracks in the area. But I know there was a report of a male leopard around the waterhole camp, and I know Scott's in that area having a look. Oh, we've got a heron flying in. As you can see, very misty morning. We're with that poor lone male hippo at Buffelshoek Dam, and now we've got a grey heron. Hopefully he's going to come and land quite close to us. Oh, behind the bush. Pop. So, we've been sitting here quietly, again, trying to see if those lions roar. Unfortunately, they haven't. As you can see, the mist on the horizon. Chilly morning. And when we were looking at that hippo, you could actually see the heat of its breath coming out. He's not turned to face us. But I think we're going to continue on and see if we can find any other tracks or any other animals. Quite still morning because of the cold. But that's good for the cats. We're seeing at the same time as us, and also we are interactive, so you're able to send us questions while we're out in the African bush looking for animals, and you can do that by using the email address questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE if you're on Twitter. Was coloring last night. Okay, copy, thanks. Text. Oh, there we go. As I expected from all that calling this morning, there's a 2 male lions are to the east of us here. This is the general area where I thought they were calling. I was hoping they're a little bit closer to our boundary, but unfortunately not. Just going to have a quick word with the guys to find out whether they are moving this way. Ephraim coming. Morning, and four. Well done. How far are they from Tuna Cut Line? Copy, thanks very much. No, they're a bit far, so we're gonna move out of the area and see what else we can find. Disease that's most common in big cats in the Kruger region is feline tuberculosis, and they get that from bovine tuberculosis from feeding off buffalo, and it manifests in growths generally on the elbows and stuff, and can in younger animals cause them to die before getting a bit older, and also in older animals cause them to have a slightly shorter lifespan. Nippy this morning. The little woodpecker, and oh, it's a nice one. It's a very nice one to see. So I'm going to see who can tell me which species of woodpecker this is. Oh. And off it goes. And it's landed again quite close by. So who can tell me which woodpecker species this is? You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. Which woodpecker species is this? Well done to Gilly and Shanae, who have got that tree 100% correct. There are quite a few others, but they were the first off the blocks. Gilly and Shanae, it was a marilla tree. Savannah, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Savannah would like to know whether I prefer these nice cold early mornings or the warmer late afternoon drives. Well, Savannah, I love both, to be honest. They offer very different things, and one of the nicer things about the morning is that you've got this fresh tapestry of tracks to work with. In the afternoon, it's a bit more difficult. Obviously, a lot of the predators don't move around as much. But the one thing that is nice is the morning can set you up for the afternoon. So you can use the morning, you can figure out, even if you don't find the animal, there's going to be a lot of tracks in an area, so you have a really good idea of where you want to work in the afternoon. And especially as it gets to that last sort of half an hour before sunset and after sunset, you've got a good chance, if you're in that area, that some of your more interesting species are going to be moving around. So I do love both, and for different reasons. But yeah, I could never choose between which is my favorite. But when it comes to mornings, when there's mist, for some reason, I really love the misty mornings. They're also really great from a photographic point of view, which is probably why I really do enjoy them. And there's something quite sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Primordial about these misty mornings. And you can see it's almost a layer in front of me there now. And we're going to dive into the mist, see what we can find. done to Chris, who was 100% correct on that woodpecker. It was the bearded woodpecker, and it was a female. And you can see one of the distinguishing features, a very black and white head on the female, and lacks the red cap of the male. So a female bearded woodpecker, and it's also quite a big woodpecker. That was another sort of giveaway. Well done, Chris. Just listening for a little bit, hoping to hear some clues.
For sending through those very valuable updates to us. Now, sadly, we have not managed to find the leopards that were allegedly seen. We're not sure if it was one or two leopards, but there was definitely a leopard at the Djuma waterhole last night. I couldn't establish where the tracks headed from there, and we've just looped around the block hoping to find some tracks, and we have found tracks of a male leopard heading down this road in the same direction that we're traveling in. Who knows which leopard it is, but it looks like a large male. So we'll continue following these tracks to the best of our ability and see where they take us. Now at this road junction up ahead, I'm just going to jump out quickly. Okay, and Brent and I are on opposite ends of the property now, which is great because we're essentially dividing and conquering, and hopefully, well, we've divided, we haven't conquered yet, but hopefully that's the plan. This male leopard's tracks are very difficult to see, but they do continue down this road. I think it could be a different male to the one that was allegedly seen at the Djuma waterhole last night. But it's impossible to say. They can move big distances in short spaces of time, and it could be that this is the very same leopard that was seen there that's just moved up in this direction. Some elephant tracks around here, so also good signs. That will hopefully lead to some animals being spotted later on the drive. Uh-oh, the leopard. Appears to have veered off this road. He could come back on, but I would just like to show you these tracks. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the vehicle into position, which I'm making a meal of. But those little smudges you can see in the sand are the tracks of the leopard. Well done there, Andrew. Heading off in the wrong direction. So that is no-go zone for us. But we will just carry on a little bit and see if he doesn't in fact veer back onto the road, which it looks like has happened. So we're back in action. The tracks have come back out onto this road. But interestingly enough, it looks like this could be tracks of a female now. So possibly a male and a female interacting. Wouldn't that be great to see? The only time you'll typically find male and female leopards together is when they are mating, but it's not cast in stone. I just find it interesting that the male tracks have disappeared and the female tracks have now arrived. Anyway, good prospects. The tracks are heading down in this direction. This is our northern boundary. But there's nothing to say that the leopards didn't veer left into Vuyatela, and that's what we are going to be hoping for. look at that little back pad over there, you can see the 3 pads and then the 4 toes leading around to the front edge of that track. And as Andrew zooms out, you'll see that the tracks all veer up to the right and to the north out of our property, which is a great pity because those tracks look very, very fresh. But let's go up ahead a little bit. It's not uncommon for leopards to veer off in one direction and then change direction and head in the opposite way. Well, good morning to Jeffrey in Texas, and thanks so much for sending your question through. Jeffrey would like to know, when was the last time that the quarantine young male leopard was seen? And I stand to be corrected, Jeffrey, but it was sometime around probably just before or in and around the 8th or 9th of, or 9th or 10th of the previous month. What month are we in now? I'm losing track of things. We're in May now.
May now, yeah.
It was in May.
Yeah.
It was early May.
Yeah.
So it was early May, Jeffrey, and I think it was Peter Pretorius that was lucky enough to be the last person to see quarantine. Since then, him and his brother haven't been seen on our property. They were seen on surrounding properties, but even the surrounding properties that border us haven't had visuals of them recently. That's not to say they have disappeared or moved out of this territory, even though they are expected to at this stage of their life. They have become sexually mature, or are in the process of becoming sexually mature, rather, and need to go and find their own territory, move out of mom and dad's territory. And even though we are in the right stage to expect them moving off, I don't expect them to just disappear in an instant. And just like the leopard we've been tracking this morning, and just like a lot of the times we track animals, we often don't find them. That's not to say they're not here. It just means we can't find them. There are many, many hiding places within the blocks that the roads surround that are very difficult to get into and difficult to search for leopard in. And let's be honest, even if the leopard was lying right on the side of the road, we could drive past it. So they're not gone, I don't think. That leopard over there is gone because he's walked out of our property. So we know that, and that's not a problem because we can go and look for other leopard. Huge apologies for the Game Drive channel that sometimes you'll hear quite loudly. It's a new system and we don't yet have earpieces for them. And to control the volume is really difficult on them because they're either too loud or too soft. But it is imperative for us to be able to communicate on them. So it's just something that we all have to deal with for the time being. But I apologize for that. For my daughter Ingwe here north of Buffalo's cut line towards Hardacall sign, the Hardacall Buffalo's signboard.
You guys can tell me what the snake eats mostly. Now you can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So what he'll probably be doing now is the first available hole he finds, he'll disappear down, or she. I'm just driving down the road and I actually just caught the glint of the sun off the scales is how I spotted it. Oh, has it found a hole? Nope, not yet. I might find a hole there, and that's going to be the end of that. They're non-venomous, so you can actually pick them up and handle them. I don't personally like picking up and handling animals, interfering in their routine. There we go. It looks like it's definitely found a hole. And they're very vulnerable when they're above ground, so I'd be quite happy to go back underground. I feel a lot more comfortable. It's going quite slowly, making sure there's not something else down the hole. There's quite a lot of snakes that eat other snakes. Your cobras are very fond of eating other snakes. Or maybe the hole's dead end. Can't fit. Uh-oh. Maybe there's been a collapse.
Maybe he's happy like that.
Yes. Don't think so. That tail will be a very, very tempting treat to a snake eagle or any of the other little raptors, or even a slender mongoose. Oh, maybe there's something else down the hole it doesn't like. Morning, Remy. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Remy or Remy would like to know whether the snake sheds. Yes, most definitely. All snake species will shed.
Yeah, I'm living in still in two.
Oh, something going on down there.
I'm heading south, join Zanzibar East, I'll have to check protocol and Green North.
It's quite difficult to try to work out what's going on when you can't see under the ground, but something has stopped it going into that hole, and there was quite a sharp little jerk there.
Good morning, stations. Any updates? More coming.
What is going on down there?
Go ahead.
As I say, we normally see these snakes in the summer months. They're not very common. Obviously, snakes that live underground are seen less than the snakes that live up on top of the ground. But as I said, most of the time I've seen them is after very heavy rains where they've been pushed out of the ground. So it is quite unusual to see them at this time of the year. Maybe it's just clearing a blockage in the tunnel. Definitely going to be far more comfortable below ground, and it's also very cold this morning. So it is quite unusual to see them.
Thank you. Anything else? No, but I'll take Zanzibar East towards protocol now. From there, I'll drive it more north. I'll let you know if something there.
Almost disappeared. And so a very unusual shape that doesn't have that long extended tail. It's almost the same size all the way through.
Awesome.
All gone. Well, that was really nice. That was quite a rare sighting. It's not something we see too often, and especially not at this time of the year. Well, just to let you know, before we spotted that little fella, we were following the tracks of a male leopard. Unfortunately, like the tracks of the male leopard Scott were following, except Scott's tracks headed north out of our Travis area, my tracks headed south out of our Travis area. But don't worry, we're both still definitely on the case. It is quite, as I said, quite cold this morning, so even all a lot of your herbivores and that are going to be moving later. So I don't think we've actually even seen an impala this morning. But we saw a Schneeman's vine snake, and that's a lot more rare than an impala. Gonna head up towards, we're heading up towards Treehouse Dam, and we're gonna check now the southern areas, see if we find any tracks. Scott, do you copy?
Go ahead, Brent.
Scotty, what area are you going to be working now?
Moving back towards Wheelton and Dam, there were tracks of Mamadune where officers cut down a bit north at Hardcore Buffles and Sign. But there were also tracks of Mafazi here around that little link road trying to navigate camp. Interested in following up on?
Copy, thanks. I'm at Treehouse presently. I think I'm going to head up towards zones, maybe to the Mitika.
Copy. Sounds good.
Just checking where Scotty was and what he's up to. Sounds like he's on the tracks of a female leopard now, so fingers crossed Scotty's hot on the trail. Insects under the ground, as well as things like slugs and larvae of insects. So that's what that particular snake species eats. The sun's coming out nicely. It sounds like almost all of you are on the right track with what that snake eats. So well done to everyone. I'm going to have to start asking some harder questions again. There's a nice little young male leopard. I'm trying to see where his mom is now. So who can tell me which leopard this is? You can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv. or use the hashtag SafariLIVE if you're on Twitter. Who can identify which young male leopard this is? Beautiful early morning light. I can't see where the female is just yet, but I'm sure she's around. So, not much better ways to spend a nice, cool early morning than with a leopard, and especially now with this beautiful soft light that's coming through. Remember, guys, if you are new to the SafariLIVE concept, we are live. You're seeing this leopard in real time, the same time we are, and we are interactive, so you can ask us questions about what we're seeing. You can do that by sending an email to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. heard something. So if you guys are hearing that clicking, stations, do you copy me? There's quite a lot of shade around, so I'm pretty sure this youngster will move into the shade somewhere when it gets a bit warmer. You can see him watching the oxpeckers there as they flew over. You'll notice lions and leopards will often look up into the sky at birds, very particularly vultures, and they will keep an eye on what's going on. Like that, for those who are on the Sunset Safari with the Tingana male leopard, I'm pretty sure he found that impala carcass that died from the cold snap, from the vultures dropping down onto it, and then he went and scavenged it. So it's possible those female leopard tracks we were following could belong to his mother. Very peaceful. Spending a morning with a young leopard. Who's that tired cat? So, well done everyone, that's correct. It is most definitely Shadow's cub. And we are quite close to the Arathusa boundary. Well done to Chris, Lisa, Ellen and Georgian, who were the first to identify this young guy as Shadow's cub. We are quite close to the Arathusa boundary, where him and his mom are normally seen. morning, Joe. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Joe would like to know how old this leopard is. Joe, he's just over 8 months now. So it's still dependent on his mother. Male leopards tend to be dependent on their mothers for longer than female cubs. I mean, I've seen female cubs that will reach independence at as young as sort of 10, 11 months, whereas male cubs will normally start getting pushed away by the mother when they get to around between 14 and 16 months. But I have seen male cubs stay with their mother for as long as 22, 23 months. So at this age, it's not uncommon for the females to leave them alone for an extended period, even up to 3 or 4 days. So she would probably be off hunting. She would try and make a kill, and then she would preferably hoist the kill and then come back and fetch him and bring him back to wherever she might have taken that kill. He is a very good-looking youngster. You hear another vehicle on the way, making their way into the sighting. Oh no, it's not. It's a vehicle going down the main road. The main access road. Thought they might be coming here, but... Morning, Trudy. Trudy would like to know how we identify leopards from their spot pattern markings. I'll show you in a second, Trudy. So above the top line of whiskers, there's a very distinct spot pattern that is like a fingerprint to each leopard. And just having a look quickly here, this young male is a 3-3 spot pattern, and I will show you. Let's just see what he's going to do for a second. I don't want to start showing you the back of my camera when he might do something interesting. So we look at the spot pattern on the top, so the last set of spots above the last line of whiskers. And that's generally the easiest way. And if you look at ID kits for a lot of leopards that the lodges have, that they give to new guides and stuff, that is how they will identify it, from the top spot pattern. I know a lot of you guys, or viewers, like to use different distinguishing marks all over the body, but from our point of view, it's just for us a lot easier to have one system that we all stick to, and that is sort of the generally accepted system, and is also used in research projects and that by scientists. Okay, let's have a quick look now. So there we go. I'm just going to get Brian to show you quickly here. So you see there, this is the right-hand side of that young male's face, and you can see there's a very distinct 1, 2, 3. Let me just find a left-hand profile. Oops, I know I have one here. Oops, there we go, left-hand profile. And there we go, that last line of spots above the whiskers, there's another 1, 2, 3 spots. So he's got a 3 spot pattern. It'll be interesting to see how far it moves, or hopefully while we're here, his mom comes back. That would be a really nice sighting. Oh, we've got Hi, Anne-Marie and Sharon. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Anne-Marie and Sharon would like to know, is this young male old enough to make a kill, even if it is a small one? Most definitely, Anne-Marie. He's probably already killed small things, possibly squirrels or dwarf mongoose. Sorry about that. Couldn't resist having to get that shot there. I think it got that one really nicely. After lots of various different animals, so he most definitely, Sharon guys, I'm going to have to move so we can keep up with him. It's amazing how well that camouflage works. It just breaks up the outlines. You can see as Brian zooms out how difficult it can be to spot a leopard if you don't know it's there. It's how he just slowly merges into the grass. Very still morning. Can you hear some Aramark babblers in the distance? But But other than that, from Franklin earlier, but very little bird calls yet. They'll start calling more as it warms up now. So just to go back to one of the questions from earlier about why Karula's been so elusive over the last while. And there is definitely pressure coming in from other female leopards. I mean, Shadow has definitely moved further and further into what was her mother's territory. And I said we saw that young female leopard down on the eastern boundary. She's going to be coming into independence now, so she's going to be looking for territory. And then there's this other leopard tracks we keep finding on the southern boundary. I'm not sure which leopard they belong to. And there does seem to be a bit of pressure on Karula at the moment, and she is getting quite old. Although I have seen female leopards hold territory till about 15, 16 years old, which is very old, and Karula is not quite there yet. But it all just depends on at the time of how much pressure is on. Thanks, Orbs. We're just going to move around to see if we can get a better view. Standing by. Morning, Shamrock. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Shamrock would like to know whether if Shadow, while away from the cub hunting, bumped into Tingana or Umvula, would she purposely lead them away from where she's hidden the cub? Probably not. I think they probably both think they're the cub's father. She would have mated with both of them when she's in estrus, so there's a good chance she wouldn't try to lead them away from the cub, and they probably wouldn't try kill the cub because they both think it's their progeny. Such beautiful backlighting on the little one this morning. Morning, Lisa. Welcome welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Lisa would like to know, would a female leopard like Shadow or Quatile kill a rival female's cub if they came across it? Most definitely, Lisa. That cub is a potential threat to the resource and territory. So they would definitely kill other leopards' cubs if they came across them. I mean, you've got a scratch, itchy head. Starting to warm up quite nicely now. You can hear Brian losing some layers behind us. We don't know, so quite an interesting time for leopards at the moment. Morning, Cecilia. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Cecilia would like to know, how many pounds would a cub like this weigh? I'm just going to try and work it out for you quickly, Cecilia. I think this is probably not more than about 20 kilograms at the moment. Maybe a bit more. Maybe a bit more. Maybe let's say 30 kilograms. Pounds. So probably somewhere between, I'm going to give it quite a broad range here. It depends. Probably somewhere between 60 and 100 pounds at the moment. A really big male leopard probably weighs around 200 pounds. Really big male leopard weighs about 200 pounds. I'd say this is possibly not quite 100 pounds yet. Maybe 90 pounds, and that maybe even a little bit less than that at the moment. So I wonder where Shadow is. I wonder if those female tracks we were following a little bit to the south of here could possibly have been Shadow's. It is possible, but that would definitely mean she's extending quite far into what's historically her mother's territory. I think those female leopard tracks that Scott is following up on could possibly be Krula. It is in the general direction she was heading yesterday. morning, Lisa Osborne. Welcome on Sunrise Phone. Oh, it's chasing a mouse. Well, there we go. Lisa, that pretty much answers your question. Would it hunt when the mother's not here? It looked like it just chased a little bushveld gerbil through the grass. So yes, if the mother did stay away for a few days, it would most definitely hunt if it got a little bit hungry, sticking to smaller things, mice, birds, possibly monitor lizards and other lizard species. And see how fast he is, even for a little guy. That was very close. We nearly saw a kill. Lucky for that gerbil, it managed to get down a hole before it was being pounced upon. So to give you an idea, that where he's sitting now is very close to the vehicle. He's actually moved closer to us. He's probably 2.5 meters, maybe just 3 meters away from the car. There you can see the side of the car now. So very, very close to us. Very relaxed little boy. Maybe that. He's listening to those impala ratting. That could be quite a big thing for him. Or it is possible his mom might have been calling and we can't hear that. But he is moving quite. Oh no, we can't go backwards. Drop the lens clean a bit. Oh, you dropped another one now. Just give us a second. No, don't worry, I'll do it. You got that? So I can still just see the cub through there. We just dropped our lens cloth, so it will be 2 seconds. Come back for it. Okay, let's go. I could just see the cub through the bush still ahead of us. We have all our paraphernalia back with us. Moving through here a couple of seconds ago, so I'm just going to try it. There's a little bit of a drainage system here, so let's see. Where he went. I think he's just on the other side of the bush from us. I'm just going to try and find a way through. So, moving into a slight slightly cooler area. There's a drainage system. I'm not sure whether he was getting really, really adventurous when he heard those impala rutting and decided he was going to go try. There he goes on the move again. Let's get around. He was going to try and take on a So guys, there's some other vehicles that are going to be wanting to come in here. We can always come back here a bit later, but I'm going to make space for the other vehicles, and we're going to come in a bit later. So we'll have one last little look, and off we go. This has been really great being able to spend some time with the Shadows Cub. Been a really nice sighting. We nearly saw him catch a mouse, but we're going to make some space for the other vehicles that might want to come. Let me just call in. The station's going to be leaving 2 vehicles in this position of this young Madode Ingwe. Best access is now from Triple M to the north east of Impala Plains Junction with Triple M. So while we try and maneuver ourselves out of here, we're going to cross across to Scotty, see what he's been up to, and we'll be back with you a little bit later in the drive.
Welcome back, and what a wonderful time you've been having with Brent and Shadow's Cub, and before that seeing a snake. So great action on Brent's vehicle this morning, which is good to hear. It hasn't been quite the same with myself and Andrew. We have been driving on all the roads with not too much life on them up till date. We spent about 10 or 15 minutes at Buffelshoek Dam watching the hippo and the heron, and allowing us some time to stop and listen to any signs of what may be happening around us. But it was silent, and we've now made our way south from there, hoping to bump into anything of interest. It's an absolutely beautiful morning, and the sun's beginning to warm us up now, and I'm sure it won't be long until we start peeling off the layers. Then to be able to fly around effortlessly, it requires hot thermals to be rising off the earth. As the earth warms up, they can then ride these warm thermals of air spiraling up from the ground, allowing them to fly very efficiently and not waste much energy. But at the moment, it's not quite warm enough to do that yet. So that's what they're waiting for. Unless, of course, there is something nearby, a kill of sorts. But I don't think so. I think this is just a comfortable tree that they've decided to spend the night in. If we saw them sitting in a tree that would be less easy for them to land in or sit in, we could then assume that it would be more likely for a kill to be nearby. And because this is such a abnormal sighting, that there are 3 adults around, I'm going to get out my camera that's been in hospital for the last few weeks, and this will be the first few shots I fire off after months of not having taken any photographs, which I'm looking forward to. I think that's the one now that's just flown up closer to the male on the top of this dead tree. And I haven't been able to get a good glimpse of the white wing panels, although now that it is sitting at a slight angle, it looks like Bob is indeed correct. Yeah. So well done, Bob. Thanks very much for sending that through. And obviously, Bob's been taking notes of all the little pointers and lessons we give along the way. And now we can see the one on the bottom left is, ooh, it looks like a male. Yeah. Yeah, the one on the left is a male. So 2 males, 1 female. Very interesting. Well, I can't explain that. Maybe the male on the left has lost its mate. Maybe it's trying to steal this mate from the male we can see. We'll never know the answer. But really pretty sighting this is to have 3 of them together. And as I said, it is warming up. And I just heard my zip being drawn down, as I am going to take my jacket off now. It will also have a stash within these natural cavities that it's poking its head out of now to keep it going through the winter, but it'll be continually working to try and maintain well-packed pantry in case of tough times that may lie ahead. Well, while we wait for the squirrel to make its move, and also wait for you guys to send through which bird it is that we can still hear calling. It's flown off into a different tree, but you certainly would have had long enough to have a good look at it. But we've got a question through from Shanae. And good morning, and thanks for sending your question through. Shanae's interested to know why there appear to not be very many female guides around. And that's a great question, Shanae. It certainly is an industry that's openly accessible to males, females, young, old, people from other countries. So there's no prejudice or factors that would make it more difficult for a female or a foreigner to become a guide. And I think it's often simply lack of interest from those genders. I know at a lodge where I used to work, 25% of our team was female staff, so there certainly may be certain lodges which are more inclined to employ female guides. But if you break it down and determine that, or just realize that there's no difference between a male or female when it comes to doing this job, as long as you can drive a car around and look at animals and talk to them and entertain your guests, anyone can do it. But it is a good point. There aren't as many females as males, not even close. And I think it is fair to say that over the years it is becoming more common for ladies to be guides. But why there aren't more, I'm not entirely sure. I know a lot of lodges like to incorporate females into their guiding team to create a balance. And it, from my experience, does create a great balance to have some female guides on the team. And at the lodge where I spent the majority of my guiding career, we always had 3 or 4 female guides out of the team of 16. But interestingly enough, on this topic, it's often women that arrive as tourists and complain when they've got a female guide. So that's something to think about. My friends who are female guides often had the most trouble from other females, as the woman who would arrive wouldn't feel safe being driven around by a female. It obviously makes no sense whatsoever. And in the tourist defense, it's possibly because they would have just imagined and expected to have a male guide picking them up at the airstrip and then be a little bit taken aback by a small, dainty blonde arriving to pick them up. So it is what it is, but there are no reasons holding back women from becoming guides, and that's important for everyone to know. Good, well, we're going to leave that squirrel to it. It seems like it may be a little bit cautious of our presence, and that's what may be stopping it from disembarking the tree. And also an update on Brent's vehicle. Sadly, it sounds like the damage is a little bit worse than expected, so they're going to be working on it for longer than expected, and we'll probably not be out again on this Sunrise Drive. Knock over some of these bits of dung to expose the termites. Okay, well, I think we can leave these birds to their business here and see what else we can find. There's just about 20 minutes left and plenty of time to find something. And very shortly, and I know Brent was here earlier this morning, but the beauty of driving around this place is that things change, and even though you may check one road or another vehicle may drive down one road, you could drive down 10 minutes later and find a completely different scenario unfolding. Let's see if that's the case this morning. You guys will have a much better idea of what was here when Brent drove past earlier than I will. Some more buffalo approaching. He was looking quite intently to the right, but on closer inspection I've noticed another buffalo also approaching the dam. And there could well be a steady stream of buffalo heading towards this waterhole during the day. It is common for them to rest up here in the heat of these winter days. And shorty, you'll notice there's another Birchall starling. It's just in front of the buffalo. And the buffalo is slowly walking towards it. There it is. It's very far away, but even from here you can tell that it's a Burchell starling simply from its size and very long tail. The other starlings we get here, the greater blue-eared and glossy, are considerably smaller. Okay, well, just 10 minutes left to go, and seeing as though the buffalo appears to be leaving the waterhole, I think we shall follow suit and do the same thing. And you'll notice it's an opaque color, and I think it's safe to assume that vision out of his right eye is non-existent, so he's probably only relying on his left eye. I could be wrong, but it is a disability that at the moment you can see has very little effect on him. He's still big and strong and healthy. Having one eye doesn't make it more difficult for him to find food. It will certainly, though, make things a little bit more difficult as he becomes older and weaker when it comes to facing off lion. But it's incredible how animals can adapt and recover from injuries out here, and what would usually be an injury that would cause a lot of difficulty to animals like us humans. These wild animals are incredibly resilient. Car in the middle of the road, and they're out all the way from America, and the university students which are busy doing some assessments and some training out here, and that must be so much fun for them. So quite envious of them on their morning out. Morning, Lee. How are you doing? How you guys? Good. Tracks on the property. They could hopefully position themselves in an easier place for us to find them through the course of the day. Failing that, there could be a lot of things that change. Elephants could come onto the property. There doesn't appear to be any sign of elephants around. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed your sunrise safari with us. And I know there was a lot of excitement on Brent's vehicle with not only a great leopard sighting, but also that sighting of a snake, which is an animal that we don't get to see too often out here. So really happy about that you got to see some good quality and different sightings. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be out on drive this afternoon. It could well be James and Brent, but we'll see you all then. Have a good one.